Interesting. Oh, testicles. I see. I guess I can still run the mod. One needn't possess knowledge of a foreign tongue to get some enjoyment out of a game, right? Ah, bald testicles! Oh, you've got to be bloody shit! Metro 2033, The Guide Story, or Metro 2033, The Guide, as it is known in Russian, is a fan-made expansion of our beloved post-apocalyptic, post-Soviet shooter by 4A Games. It most certainly is a short prelude to a much more ambitious project. An appetizer before a passionately crafted meal, a dive in a kiddie pool before one takes a plunge into the one meant for grown-ups. It's short, somewhat janky, but oh, it shows enough potential to warrant a bit of attention, especially in light of the fact that barely anyone speaks about it, and the future experience it indirectly forewarns. Oh, wait, it's delisted off Steam, so chances of you getting or having the bloody game, let alone this mod, is quite low. Unless you take out a physical copy out of a pile of bones in Paris catacombs, or its closest alternative, whatever decrepit store that still desperately clutches into the faded remnants of existence when it comes to physical copies of video games. Hello, this is Perverted Seb speaking, the one arrogant narrator you so desperately needed in your life. And joining him as his co-host is the high-pitched brains of the script, Creative Seb. But before we dive into Metro, a game we already covered on this humble channel, hashtag shameless self-promotion, and links in the description, by the way. It is a piece of media you would not traditionally associate with mods, especially custom campaigns. So, before we do that, we wish to ask you a simple question. Which game comes to mind when you hear the word mod? Is it Skyrim with a library so massive it makes that of Alexandria look like a small book club, with its own enormous expansions, remakes, standalone games, and more spicy and grown-up oriented entries? Perhaps you gravitate towards other entries in the Bethesda catalogue. How about Doom? Quake? Stalker? These games are like stars ringed by an entire orchestra of celestial bodies, grand and known by the many. However, there are those lesser-known stars that form an orbit for a much smaller collection of planets, those that deserve some love and respect. Metro the Guide Story is one of such exemplars. The game opens up with a custom-made loading screen and a monologue. Our protagonist is a stalker, one who instead of burning his legs in alien vomit in search of solidified snot, roams the irradiated surface of Moskva for items worthy of salvage. Jobs are in short supply, and our hero does what every post-Soviet man would have done in his place: daydream of a big hit while giving himself alcohol-induced cirrhosis. And in this situation, a trader from Hansa Stations approaches him for a job. You see, the surface is a cold tomb of our civilization, a home to all sorts of abominations that yearn for the flesh of man and monster alike. And to spare himself the risk of getting his chest opened like a can of sardines, the man wishes to hire the very individual who journeys up there for living. Why trek through dead snow, you ask? Why disregard the safer subterranean tunnels? Entry tax evasion, of course. The first level is the market station from the base game, albeit heavily altered. The location made its debut around the beginning of Artyom's journey, where he met Uncle Bourbon. Now, the market has a few quirky characters and quests attached to them. This fan expansion was created by a Russian team of modders known today as Green Games Group. The first screenshots of the guide story appeared around 4 years ago, and the mod saw light in March of 2022, according to their posts on VK. One must also note that these individuals, most of which have no prior experience in mod development, are practically cutting through uncharted territory, their path lit by their unbreakable love for the series alone. There are no official modding tools for Metro as far as we are aware, which means these lads had to make their own unofficial tools. Let us move on. The mod loosens its leash ever so slightly to let you look around and buy a few trinkets, ammunition and medkits, maybe filters. Probably, if you sell off all your stuff, a shiny shotgun for the ensuing adventure. The year may be 2035, but the AK rounds of old are still a valuable currency, you know? Oh, and you can also do a mini side quest. That stranger right there speaks with an audibly different accent. He most certainly represents a non-Slavic group of post-Soviet ethnicities that probably hail from the incredibly diverse region of Caucasus. These groups were mainly Armenians, Kartvelians, and Azerbaijanis and such. The voice acting in this game is serviceable. On the technical front, that is. Doesn't make our ears bleed, thank God. As I was saying, he will part with his gas mask in exchange for a car door, which for some reason is in possession of this hobo who will challenge you to a drink-off, for some reason. These bottles were ported from the Stalker series, it seems.
Я футбольный мячик. Иди нахуй, гондон!
What? Don't click on that page, it will bug out the game. Finally, we wrest the Soviet Lightning McQueen's limb from this bipedal sponge of ethanol and toss it to our stereotypical Caucasian friend. Dare we say the mask might come in handy, actually, since the one in the player's inventory might as well deatomize if a snowflake too jagged scrapes against its surface. With all our affairs sorted, we approach our client and move on into the tunnels. Right from the get-go, one can spot a curious feature of the mod, which may be easily missed due to our beloved narrator's atrocious aim. Cloitasov, brother. The mutants in the tunnels can tolerate a heavier lead diet than your main game abominations. And in my defense, the game was shipped with this abhorrent controller support on day one, mind you. Can you just imagine getting the base game on Xbox 360, turning off aim assist because we're the real men here, and ending up with this? Whatever you say, brother. Presentation-wise, we tip our hats to the devs for quite an impressive and convincing work. The level design, while linear, is well made, dotted with the right amount of props, proper lighting details, and even amusing text that can make them feel lived in. It genuinely looks like those who assembled these tunnels, dilapidated roads and stations at least, somewhat knew what they were doing and had a passion for their craft. Funny enough, some of the chambers were not built from scratch, but instead were picked up from 4A Games' cutting room floor itself, like this one that actually got reused in Metro Last Light as well. We hope the admiration of these curious sights and tough battles did not enthrall you to such a degree that you forgot to bring someone with you. Yes, another interesting new feature, unseen in the other games, is your companion, whom obviously must be escorted. Now, be a good puppy and run all the way to the start of the level where you left him. Would not be such a massive issue if he didn't plant himself into the floor every 3 meters, with us having to constantly nag him to follow along. Thank bloody Christ at least he's immortal. And the whole situation is definitely not helped by our client, who is as talkative as a mobile concrete slab, which reduces our interactions to something only marginally beyond "let's move" and "follow me," which makes forgetting his entire existence all the easier. And we believe this is genuinely a shame, as little quips and banter could go a long way in fleshing out these two. Moving on, whatever little ammo there is in this mod is thankfully enough for our explosive ejaculate delivery device to deliver a lead-based buckshot, cum shot to the face and chest of whatever dares to think of us as a weekend meal. However, one must be careful to not completely famish the resources on the tunnel filth and save vital rounds for the battles ahead. We reach the ladder and the level ends. Up above, we are greeted by the undead cadaver of once great Moskva, entombed in the frigid concrete and snow. Nothing left to do but dig inside its flesh akin to maggots. Be mindful of these metallic nests, many of which contain useful loot. These private garages served the role of a solitary refuge and a nest of socialization for many a citizen. They also provided safe haven to vehicles, as in the later years of SSSR many prowled the streets, eyes sharp for unattended vehicles to break into. An attentive player can dig up some neat stuff, and even a revolver carbine. Hope you didn't spend too much of your valuable ammo on a new 6-shooter back at the first level. Again, do not forget that you must actively make sure that our boy follows you, because should you stray too deep into this river of discarded machines, the game will crash. This is a problem for a multitude of reasons, one of which is the busy work you have to repeat over and over again due to the game's stingy checkpoint system. Oh, that's Vandelay, a Russian channel dedicated to exploration of bugs, glitches, Easter eggs, old builds, betas and developmental cycles of games, mainly Call of Duty franchise, Stalkers, Metro and, surprisingly, Nancy Drew. The only tragedy that keeps many from exploring this absolute treasure trove of content, an obscene amount of unseen details and facts, is the language barrier. But if you know Russian and love any of the aforementioned games, this man is a must-watch. Again, remember you only get 3 checkpoints throughout the journey, which means in a feat of recklessness the player may have to repeat the entire process of looting, babysitting the NPC, and fighting the jacked up enemies as the mod occasionally tends to crash. Or your starting dollar store mask crumbles upon a slightest touch, also forcing you to redo a checkpoint. Bloody hell, after 4 playthroughs of this mod, we just noticed that the local watchmen are actually the models imported from the Reduxes. As a reminder, originally they looked like shaven scrotums with teeth. Well, since our beloved narrator's aim is a war crime in the making, and these quadrupedal dust bunnies eat our loads like Sasha Grey on Venezuelan marching powder, we democratically decide to take shelter on these metallic remnants of the past. A few of such encounters transpire, and we finally reach our destination. Our client fully compensates us, and there is nothing left but to turn back. A river of gigantic rats swarms past us, and we try to make our way back into the subterranean tunnels. The operative word is try in this situation. Had it worked properly, the game would have ended back where the level first started. Afterwards, a small message by the devs would play. The developers offer their wholehearted appreciation to the player. They go on to speak about the monumental effort that went into creation of the custom tools and ways to mod this game. They wish to give you more of such content and ask for only a simple favor in return. If the hashtag on the screen gets reposted in the comments of Metro-related posts and artworks in significant numbers, 4A Games may notice this little movement and share the real SDK with the fans. Consequently, the modability of the game will truly be unbound. Has not worked out yet, we see. The message ends and the mod comes to a close. The journey was short, somewhat bitter, but nonetheless, we were left with an interesting subject to observe and dissect. It is something we could not simply pass up. Think about this. Every newly added facet of this miniature campaign screams proof of concept, their presence a testament to specific victories torn from the claws of defeat by these intrepid developers. They retrofitted the old engine with models from the newer games. The stereotypical Caucasian man represents an experimental addition of side quests in the game, coupled with a custom cutscene. The buffed hit points showed their ability to tinker with enemy stats, imported custom assets and such. Look, we know next to nothing about mods. What the creative boy is trying to convey is that since the devs basically had to create their own tools to actually work on the blasted thing, each and every little accomplishment is noteworthy. Approximately 2 months following the guide story's release, the devs announced a newer, even grander project, Soon it became known as Metro Legacy. And to say their ambitions were not overflowing like bottles of Coke with Mentos in their bowels would be a lie. But let us be honest, which Russian mod is not psychotically overambitious? You name me one, I'll name you 9. Yeah, fair enough. And on the 3rd of November 2020, a new trailer. Bloody hell, has it really been 2 years? Moving along, according to the devs, the story in Metro Legacy runs parallel to the events of the Metro 2034 novel. The current plans for the mod are to do a full 1-to-1 recreation of the space between Kievsky railway station and Smolenskaya Square, packed with explorable buildings and such. A mini open world, so to speak. Beneath the soil, however, will rest a world of 3 new stations with tunnels and catacombs snaking between them, populated by some familiar characters from the books and games. The mod makers also promised to bring in new weapons, a new UI, reworked sounds, so on and so forth. The planned release was the year 2021. Yep, sounds like an overambitious passion project, alright. Around November 2020, they released an update showcasing an actual dialogue system, with multiple choices and such. Afterwards, a few screenshots, concepts and such came and went, until a few months back in November 27th, 2022, a massive update came into light. Apparently, the developers made a bold leap from the old 4A engine that powered the original Metro to the one breathing life into the Reduxes. This is truly curious because years back, they claimed that the newer engines lacked the tattered remnants of what one could call freedom that the older engine offered. We presume that hurdle was overcome. The devs stated that 95% of the surface geometry was finished, the story was reworked with 3 out of 7 chapters being complete, a few guns from Stalker Gunslinger mods were also ported in. And here I hope for some original models. Hopefully they don't stick out like genital warts on the sausage of this quite a promising project. They worked out a full day-night cycle, minigames, restored cot attachments. All in all, the project is 60% complete. Perhaps we shall see it in a year or 2? Yes, provided the massive developmental pressures don't shatter their metaphorical skeletons. But if, allegedly, 3/5 of the game is already finished, it may actually press on and see the light of day. And by God and Andrei Prokhorov, if the legacy is as glorious as the VK posts paint it to be, well, another massive reason has just been added to the list of why you should own the bloody Reduxes already, since they have already been getting massive discounts and were once even free on Epic Store. The list. Returning to the topic of the engine switch, the devs state that the archaic nature of the old 4A engine as the main reason. But can we don our conspiracy theory hats for just a moment? Maybe there is a different, slightly more curious reason that may have influenced their decision. If you've seen our previous videos on the subject, you might know that the old Metro 2033 was delisted from Steam, making it quite a constricting medium. To elaborate our deductions, we shall reference the sales numbers by Google, which may not highlight the situation in its entirety, i.e. free giveaways, maybe consecutive sales and such, but will provide a decent frame of observation nonetheless. The original game sold over 1.5 million copies, while Metro Exodus sold 6 million. So, theoretically, armed with this information, we can deduce that there may be individuals within that very 4.5 million pool of latecomers that would want to lay their hands on the arguably the most ambitious fan project in the franchise's history, but would simply be unable to. Considering how much of the blood and sweat, tears and years were already devoured by Metro Legacy, it is not at all an unexpected development. While the newer, more widespread engine just sits in the corner available to any and all willing to, how do you say, pervert? Sink their fingers into its orifices? Simply put, the Reduxes offer a much wider reach than the game 4A swept under its digital rugs many years ago. Apart from that, Last Light already has an excellent Kshatriya DLC centered around retrieval of items from the surface to donate its genetic framework. It's still curious how these two projects slipped by the non-Russian speaking fans. Probably due to the language barrier, yeah, most likely, but you'd be surprised just how many Westerners genuinely love the franchise. which is sort of the main reason why we chose to cover these overlooked gems. At the end of the day, we can reasonably say that it is the very presence of Metro legacy that promotes the guide story from a clandestine curiosity to a build-up to something genuinely worth keeping an eye on. Whether or not that very something lives up to the promises and expectations, well, it remains to be seen. Personally, we are willing to temper those aforementioned expectations, but nonetheless observe the project with great interest. When it comes to Eastern European modding scene, we got burnt aplenty. Well, as of January 2023, these are the current events that are transpiring in the remote and unseen corners of the Metro modding scene. Hopefully you enjoyed this little trip into some wild territory and got to discover something new and interesting. Well, if you think the video is worth it, then pleasing Daddy YouTube with likes and subscribes and such won't be much of a problem, right? Once again, thank you, and may this year prove to be a truly wondrous one for you and your loved ones. Farewell, our dear viewer.